Everybody, Magnus Studios. Today I have a new figure or new Lego mock to present to you guys, that being the Transformers New Order Trailbreaker. And here is Trailbreaker in his full glory. And sorry that you can't see the feet, the phone stand is a bit short so you cannot see the feet, so that's a disclaimer. But that is Trailbreaker in his full glory in the side view and in the back view as well. Now, if you want me to explain some part of the lore, like the story, there's pretty much nothing too fleshed out about Trailbreaker's story. I just like making some designs that don't really have purpose, but he's more so a pre-leader. If I were to put some lore in him, he would be like a general to most of the Autobots. Yeah, he'd be pretty much a general to most of the Autobots, and when Optimus wasn't in charge, he would be the grand leader to control all of it, make sure nothing stays out of place, and that nothing's wrong. That's pretty much his job. So, taking a closer look at Trailbreaker, not putting me too close to the camera, but at least about this close. I put a lot of time and work into this design, and pretty much it didn't really take, it took me it took me at least 3 days to build. It's not that bad, but I put all of my love and heart into it and all of my efforts into it. So I think I did a really cool job. I think it's really cool that I was able to achieve this at such a scale, which we're not going to talk about the chest yet, but let's just talk about the arms. The arms, I did try and want to go for something plain. I didn't want the arms to be like this. I wanted it to be a bit more stocky, a bit more better. And I don't think the tires were supposed to be here. I think they were supposed to be on the side, if not visible there at all. I just wanted to get a new Trailbreaker design, but at the same time, giving him a new and unique design. Because originally this chest piece was all the way up here, the hood was somewhere, and this was all the way in the bottom. And the bumper, I think, was still there, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So pretty much everything is still there, but he has a nice new design. He has some great parts to kind of make the detail pop instead of look like an overlapping mess. So we have some great parts there. Actually, no, sorry. I get too carried away by stuff, but let's just go into the arms first real quick so we can go on to the torso and the rest of the body. So the tires are movable though, so that's the best part. They don't really have any piece in there because I don't think there'd be a reason to. But we have the joint, and then we have this massive piece, which pretty much is just removable. It just attaches onto there by one clip. And pretty much if you go onto my TikTok, you'll see that pretty much most of my builds are just assembled. I don't show any tutorials. I just assemble them like a YOLO Park model kit. That's all I do. But he does have one noticeable feature, like the Bumblebee movie and the Rise of the Beast, where they have those kind of weird circle dots on the arms. I don't think I can show a full-fledged example, but he did have this kind of light gray between black in the design of his G1 counterpart. So I do want to do that. The back of the arm isn't too special. It's just the same thing. You also have the back of the body. But the legs are a lot more accurate to G1 than they are anybody else, because they have the light gray, then they have the red, the gray, and then the rest being black. So that's pretty much one of the most accurate things I've gotten from Trailbreaker. So if you see Trailbreaker, you're definitely gonna know this is Trailbreaker. Another thing is pretty much his quote-unquote accessories. He does not come with much, but he comes with his iconic his iconic laser right here. It does tend to get out of focus, but it's not a laser, but it's a gun. So pretty much he comes with like, this is a whole separate piece with the 3-pod rocket launcher and then the cannon. I wanted it to be a lot more separate, like that much separate, but I couldn't really get that. And the camera loves to get out of focus too, so I couldn't really get that. So you can elaborately hinge that out as a part of articulation. This too, the swivel. But pretty much he looks kind of weird without it. You just find that peg port and put the black one, not the light one, on top, and then you have that assembled. This can get out of the way for articulation too. But let's move on to the chest real quick so we can finish off this, go to comparisons, articulation, and final thoughts. So first we're just going to go up to the lower waist. There's nothing too interesting other than the fact that it's all black there, and I did want to do that. So this piece was supposed to go originally a lot more high up, but I couldn't do that without limiting most articulation. So that's why these are there. Well, not really why, but that's pretty much cool. There is also a nicely detailed back, and there is a disclaimer: this will be constantly reused for many Optimus Primes, so it's not going to be too interesting at some point, but you will just see it a lot better in some of the creations, because this is the definitive back for the Optimus Prime, but I will just add some modifications. But you do have some black parts here, and then the spinal cord with these pieces. If you want to connect it, you can just slap that together, and these pieces move too. So you don't really see anything too much when you do the articulation, except for a bit of the piece of the spinal cord. But this little hinge here helps to avoid any unnecessary like going backwards, because he has a ball joint at the torso, so it limits a lot when you're moving him, so it starts to shake. I'm trying to make sure that this looks right, but there you go. That's the best way I can do that. So the side view, I did want to look like Kibble, like I've said for many of my other figures, because they kind of fold in. Oh, this is loose. That is so bad. But they kind of just fold in on each other for most transformations, so like a masterpiece or something. This is inspired by the Wheeljack 2 that they've done a while back, the fandom, where they try to redo it from Rise of the Beast. That's what the main torso's kind of nearly about. But let's just take a look at it. So over here we have the headlights. We also have the head sculpt, which is too black to look at because you can't see and like detect any face or something. But we have the headlights. I did want to put 2 in, but I couldn't get anything to work for that because I couldn't find the piece in time. But he also has this main piece, which is really cool. We're gonna show off the detail in a second, but first time let's just get this out of the way. So now that is a major problem with most of my figures, their tendency to break if you're not careful with them. But we'll just take him in a T-pose and hinge these out. So pretty much with that out of the way, you can't see the multi-layered design behind it when he's starting to fall, which is pretty cool because he has like more panels folding in and out and stuff with this hinge and the part of the design. And if you remove this part, which is the windshield and the top of the car, you can see the spark. I know it's the most convenient place to put the spark, but that's where I put it. You also have the bumper right here, which is on a hinge, which you can definitely get the articulation a whole lot more, but you have to remove everything, which does not look good. So it kind of angles nicely. You do see the front of the car, the headlights, and then the grille, and that's pretty much a fun feature. I did want to put something else in here other than the spark, because it'd be terrible if they penetrate through there and then he just dies instantly. But you can do that, which is a nice feature. And we'll just go on to comparisons and then articulation and then final thoughts. Now I did realize that I don't have much for size comparisons, but I do have a minifigure and another mock I'm doing. So we have Trailbreaker against this amazing Spider-Man. I don't know what you would necessarily call it, but there's the size comparison, and you can definitely tell how large he is compared to a normal average minifigure, but they are a lot larger, about this taller compared to in like real life, in their real life universe. But he doesn't really look too special or something compared to this. It doesn't look accurate. More like this looks like kind of robots and stuff. But we do have something I did develop a while ago that I wanted to review. I had him in storage for a while, but I decided to finally redo him into a brand new style. I don't know exactly what I want to call him just yet, but we have a mech I'm still working on. I don't know his name, but he either might be a Transformer or just I'll separate him into a completely different universe. This is him in a complete vanilla stance compared to Trailbreaker, and pretty much either they're the same exact height or he's taller. But you tell me what you think in the comments. I don't know. But we'll just shimmy him off to the side. And on to articulation. Articulation is wild. But first we have to remove some things out of the way in order to do articulation. So you're going to want to hinge these out, or this out, and then when you do that, pull the ball joint out and then hinge this out. That way you can get the articulation. So now the legs have a thigh swivel and then a ball joint that can make it not go out up all the way. The legs can go forward that far, and there is some nice hinge motion which reveals a hidden piece. Now, I can't put it back, but because it's still a work in progress. With that being a work in progress, it sucks. There's a ball joint, a toe hinge. The arms can go clearly up that far. If you extend it, you can get a full hinge swivel. Double jointed arms, which can only make 90. Very frustrating when that happens. Ball joint at the hand, and then a rotation. I've clearly shown the articulated hands. And pretty much a ball joint at the head can go up that far, down that far, tilt side to side, and all around. There's a ball joint at the torso, which doesn't really work unless you hinge this out, which can get up about that far. And then tilt side to side too, rotation as well. And if you hinge this piece out, you can get some slight ab crunch. But yeah, that's the short review I have for the amount of time I have with Trailbreaker. Overall, I do rate Trailbreaker a 9 out of 10. Really high, raised up my standards for him. I do think when I do a tutorial, it's definitely worth it for you guys to check it out. Really cool. I love this design. It's probably one of the best designs I've ever created for a Transformer. And I hope to see you guys next time. But this is Magna Studios signing out. Tell me what you want to see in the next video. Pretty much, I'm going to go live stream today. You might see this later, but I'm going to go ahead and sign out. See you guys later.